Hello and welcome to the panel shows It's All Art. I'm so excited to be here today with Tim and Pearce from Hired Goons. We are at the Sanctuary International Film Festival and we've just grabbed these guys straight off their beautiful panel talk where they've shared a lot about their content. So without further ado, guys, can you share a little bit about what you do in the industry?
Thank you for the lovely introduction. Yeah, my name's Tim and this is Pearce. We run a comedy production company called Hired Goons. We make only comedy films, comedy short films and web series, and we release weekly on our YouTube channel.
Pretty amazing to be doing weekly content. I mean, you guys don't look that tired, but I feel like you might be a little bit tired.
A little bit. I think we're doing okay.
Like, is it actually like 52 weeks a year? Do you give yourself a holiday?
It's been non-stop, for I don't know how long now.
Yeah. Well,
like a year, 2 years?
So we'll shoot a bunch of episodes over a week or two, and then have the time to edit them and release them as a schedule. We've planned out the next probably 6 months.
Yeah.
We've shot the next 3 months, so we are ahead of schedule.
So you have a business model, which is great for creatives, because honestly, most of us don't.
Yeah, other people do shoot each week, write each week, release the same week.
Yeah.
Which we'll probably give it a shot sometime.
Sure.
But we try to keep ahead of it. We can keep a high quality, and then we're filmmakers before we are kind of on YouTube. So we can't let go of the production quality. We want to make sure it's really good and have the chance to do second drafts and make sure the shoot is smooth and fun, and then have the chance to tidy up any things in the edit. So,
I love that, and I think, you know, the fact that you've got that creative integrity is really cool.
Thank you.
So why comedy? Because it seems like only comedy, strictly comedy right here, ladies and gentlemen. Why is it that you chose comedy?
It's what we love, basically. It's kind of why we started the company. And, I think that's where we've had a lot of our success, is just like doubling down on that and having that sort of focus. We kind of like know what what we're pitching people, and it puts us all on the same page when we're making stuff. So.
That's right. And then consistency is great to build an audience.
Yeah.
If we did a drama one day and then a horror the next day and then a fantasy one the next day, it would be the story would, like the message we're trying to get across would be different. So what we do is we do a comedy drama one day, and then we do a comedy horror the next day, and then we do a comedy fantasy the next day, which is exactly what we do. So we do all sorts of things in that comedy space. We've done things about werewolves and witches. We've done things about a half man, half caterpillar detective. We've done horror.
Hang on, wait. Half man, half caterpillar detective.
Yes, it's called Copperpillar.
Copperpillar.
Yeah, that makes sense, right?
I mean, yeah. Your brain, it takes a second, but
and we've also done slasher horror that's a comedy as well.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So we can still dip our toes in each direction, but we are only comedy, and we love it. Like Pearce said, it's our favourite thing.
Yeah, well, I think, you know, we've got to play to our strengths as creatives, you know, and it's interesting what we were talking about, or what you guys were talking about rather on the panel, is the collaborative mindset. And, you know, that's a big part of my passion as a creative and a producer and actor as well, is, you know, getting those people that have strong points that maybe are not your strong points. You put them together, you mesh them all together, and you get something really amazing. And I think comedy is really great too, especially in this kind of climate globally, not just as in the weather, but politically. It's kind of tense out there, right? And, you know, historically comedy has been a way to reflect society back to itself in a digestible way. So do you guys feel that you kind of do that in a way? Or do you just have a great time?
Not really.
I think we kind of consciously don't do that in a way.
Yeah, cool.
I think we try not to have too many like modern references. I like the idea that maybe in 10 years' time, the video would still hold up. Like you're not going to rely on something that maybe happened in the past week or the past month.
We also stay away from anything political or controversial because I don't care about politics. We don't understand it enough to be able to do a deep dive and an articulate comedy about it.
Yeah, and there's so many trolls out there that you've just, as soon as you kind of even angle or edge towards it, it's like, all right, I'm coming for you.
Yeah,
it's like,
right.
no!
Other people have that. Other people can do their comedy sketches and release them currently.
Yeah.
But we try to keep it not broad, but just honest and just what we think is funny. And
great.
in the writing room and on set, if we think it's funny, that'll do.
Yeah.
We're not really too concerned.
Not that we're narcissistic at all as creatives, but
that's right. But if we're honest to what we enjoy,
absolutely,
then surely someone out there can enjoy it as well.
And I love what you said earlier on the panel again. The 9 out of 10 people might not like what you do, but if you get one, that's one
better.
person that is affected by your work, and I think
right.
that's really cool. So what makes you passionate about filmmaking, and why did you get into it? It's a big question, isn't it? It's a big one. Take a moment.
I mean, I started in animation. I thought that's where, or even games. I loved video games, and so I started studying animation as a way to get into that. And then for animation, you start putting characters and stories together. But animation took so long to do. And for one of the assignments we had to do like a video and picking up the camera and actually moving the camera around and getting something done in a fraction of the time. I was like, oh, okay, there's something kind of interesting here. Okay. So I kind of fell in it sideways. It wasn't a conscious thing, but it just, the more I started doing it, the more I really enjoyed learning about it.
Yeah, I always enjoyed telling stories and writing, and enjoyed the way that a movie can change your opinion or just give you an hour and a half of happiness.
Yeah.
And leaving a movie and going, I had so much fun watching that. I knew that I wanted to give that little feeling to other people, and so that's kind of what we aim for. Some people say that filmmaking is hard, but it's really hard for us to not make it. It's hard for us to just sit on our hands and
totally agree.
Let's not make anything. It's like, no, we got the next idea and the next thing, and we love it.
Yeah.
And getting feedback from an audience and they love it, it just warms our hearts. So
yeah,
that's amazing. And I totally agree. You know, people say to me all the time, oh, it's hard being an actor. And I'm like, it's really much harder not to be. Really much harder. I've tried many times. I've tried many times to quit this business, but I just keep coming back because it's your heart.
That's right.
Like you said, you know, it warms your heart to get that feedback, but it also warms your heart to be proactive and doing what you love, because there's plenty of people out there that would, you know, love to be able to do it and don't have the opportunity, or simply don't have the courage to be able to step out of that kind of fear and get out there and do it. So all respect to you guys and all power to you. What are you passionate about outside of filmmaking? Does it kind of drive your whole life, or is there sort of little things? Yeah, I know, I get it.
Kind of. I mean, I still have like a love for animation games, but I kind of like, and one of the things I really enjoy about filmmaking is now that when I was starting to learn about those things, you know, when you start doing something, it kind of changes your relationship with it a little bit.
Completely.
Now that those things can kind of be hobbies again, now I can just be enthusiastic, and I'm not picking it apart in the same way that maybe I am with films now. So yeah, those kind of things. But they kind of feed back into movies anyway. They're all kind of like on the same wavelength. So.
I'm enjoying the business side of it as well, and kind of, I mean, we started the company just over 2 years ago, and we didn't have a clue, so there's a lot of research and like figuring out what is tax.
What is tax?
How to run a business.
We do know what tax is though.
Why do we have to pay?
We pay our taxes.
All clean, nothing to see here.
Yeah, that side of it I find fascinating as well, and I run a lot of the operational side of not just producing, but the making sure everyone gets paid and making sure that the lights stay on. And I find that interesting, and if I do my job great, then Sam and Pearce can be as creative as possible and not have to worry about, are we going to get kicked out of our office next week?
Yeah. Sam is the other part of Goons outfit who's not here today.
That's right.
He's not a fictional character.
Yeah.
Wow.
In our hearts he died.
Bless him. Bless his soul. Okay, beautiful. And what about advice for, you know, it's a common question, but advice for upcoming creators, anyone looking to get into the industry or make something for themselves? What's your number one or short piece of advice that you would give?
I feel like something that we've learned over the last few months is it's almost better to have made something than nothing.
I agree.
There's projects you could wait until they're perfect, but then you've never made it. And if you're in the creative industries too, it's easy to be precious about an idea and hold it close, and this is the one. But and there's a million ideas out there. If you give yourself time, you'll come up with them. So I found that if we don't just be too precious, we do our best. We give it everything we can to make it great. But then we have it, and then we can move on to the next thing, and hopefully that kind of like leads to the next project and the next project.
The other thing with that, having an idea that you keep to yourself. Some people will write a script and not want to show anyone, or they'll be on set and want to control everything. But every time that we've excelled and done something that we're incredibly proud of is because we let it go, and we've got a DOP and a sound and actors and said, hey, what do you think? And then they've raised it to a level.
Absolutely, yeah.
Some of the things that we've shot, we've said in private, just like, this is better than us. This is like...
It becomes greater than you because
exactly
there's a collective energy behind it, collective creative
energy.
energy.
If we had have kept it, and if we had have like, no, that's not quite how we were thinking, it wouldn't be as good.
Yeah.
And so sometimes letting go of that control and being ready to take the leap and grab other people who want to jump off with you, that would be our advice.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Tim and Pearce, for joining us for this quick chat today. It was brilliant, so inspiring, and thank you so much for all the work you're doing, and it's inspiring me. And we'll see you next time, guys. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.